Oh, Sherry here. I'm making a Halloween story today, and this is a story, and not this is not this only a story, and a story of what it is. And what I gonna say here is one thing. Remember, this did not happen. It's a fantasy. It's a Halloween horror story I created myself, and I thought about it, and then now this month, Halloween month, why not put on YouTube a Halloween horror story? And here's story gonna start out. I'm starting the story now. As a vicious thunderstorm rolled through the night, the lightning was flashing, the thunder was a thumping loud. The and little apartment, a little flat in England was just shaking like this from the thunder and all that. And as you know, it was like, just rumbling. The waves were crashing over the railing out up on the beach. And it was really loud thunder. It was so loud that it would it was gurgling through hearing aid. And then I turned around the lights started flickering as everything else. And roaring thunder. All of a sudden, I turned around. I heard the voice. I looked around. I didn't hear anybody. All of a sudden, I turned around here. The voice saying, "Siri." Well, I could turn around. There's nothing there. As the thunder roared, the storm deepens and roaring thunder. Then I turned around and I saw a ghost of a very old man in dress like that. "I'm a ghost of King Arthur. What are you doing in Camelot Castle?" And, you know, and as the ghost roars and screams and terrorizes me, I'm getting worried of what I gotta do to get rid of this ghost. I tell him to go on light, it wouldn't go on light, and I trying to send it through light, wouldn't. And finally, as it roared on, the storm, the lightning, the ghost, and next thing the I was being terrorized in my seat. I was trying to shake in my boots like this. I was shaking in my boots. I was shaking in my I was just shaking in my boots. I'm scared. I was scared and shaking my boots. And what else happened? Then that time when that's finally the storm started to finally it got worse and worse and worse. And then finally I looked around this tiny English flat in England. And finally I found a door in this flat I'd never been to before. I opened this door up, walked through into a very crude torture chamber with a rack and that on. Next, as you know, I walked down a rack and I found something I didn't want to find. It was scary. It was mean. I walked through the dungeon, and the ghost of King Arthur says, "I'm gonna close this door and lock it on you now." I rushed to the door, got out just before the door locked in the dungeon. I knew I couldn't get out of it. Then finally, I made it into the torture chamber. Next thing you know, Ghost King Arthur grabbed me, threw me on the threw me Iron Maiden. I escaped the Iron Maiden. And finally, I figured, you know what? I gotta do something about this ghost. So I called on God, Jesus Christ, to come in and relieve me of this horrible, horrible ghost. And all of a sudden, the holy angel appeared in the sky, in the dungeon. And all of a sudden, the holy angel grabbed this spirit, King Arthur, threw him and dragged him in the light, and said, "Leave Siri alone now." And all of a sudden I turned around, and next thing I know, the dungeon bright now, light, and I walked out of the dungeon back in my tiny English flat, and the angel said, "Sleep in heavily. Now time to get nice sleep." And the thunderstorm subsided and everything. So finally then I woke up. At that point, I lived happy ever after, free from the horrible spirits and feeling the horrible spirit came over. Blog over.